Good morning, everybody. It's LSP. It's currently the 26th of May, 2022. Today, we're going to be discussing options as well as the usual analysis on Bitcoin. I want to focus on the max paying price point, which is 26,000 or 27,000, depending on which feed you're looking at. And all that means is it's the price point at which, most open contract puts and calls are. And at that price, it would cause, loss for the largest number of options holders at expiration. Okay, so it's a very important price. Before we get into the analysis, if we just go over to Levitas website, what I do, and I don't use a lot of this information when it comes to options expiration, but I like to just come to the order flow tab, and you can see the largest amount just here. In this case, it's puts, but 26,000. Now, again, depending on what feed you're looking at, this is derived from Deribit options, the exchange, but depending on what feed you're looking at, it can be 27,000. I've seen a few. Some are at 27,000, some are slightly less, but it's between 26 and 27,000. Either way, it's an important price point, okay, and something that we need to be mindful of. Now, if we look at the daily, doesn't seem like there's much going on. If we look at the weekly of Bitcoin, we can see that there is a little bit of, you can see it's almost trying to just come down a little bit, right? But then when we go to the 4 hour, we see something a little bit interesting, right? So we see the price point from here, here, and here, all equal. We see the price point from here, 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 and here, pretty much equal, right? Just here, we've just effectively created a very small lower high. It doesn't really mean much in the bigger scheme of things, right? But you can see that there's been a little bit of weakness coming into this consolidation where it may start to be breaking down a little, right? And you can see there's been a little bit of follow through today. Okay, that could potentially put us a little bit lower and eating into this liquidity and potentially down here around about sort of 28,000. Now, what's interesting is if we just come back to the daily, in fact, we'll go to the weekly so I can show you this. This white line, obviously, we've had on our chart for quite some time, and that comes in at 26,000. So it has always been a key level, right? Now, in terms of options expiration, what does all of this mean? How is it going to affect price? Does it affect price? Does it even matter? Well, if price can hold this level during and the run up to and after options expiration. So let's say options expiration comes and price holds this level and then we move past options expiration, right? That would be one of the best scenarios for us at the moment, with Bitcoin, right? Because that's pretty much all of the implied volatility out the way. That's pretty much all of the negatives out the way. That's pretty much all of the, what's going to happen. Options expiration is coming, It's all out of the way. There's been no real effect. And then Bitcoin can decide what it wants to do going forward, without having to worry about whether or not, options expiration is going to be a problem. So the ideal scenario is that price holds these levels during options expiration, and then post expiration, we'll get a much cleaner read on what Bitcoin could potentially be doing going forward. In terms of the actual analysis itself, there's not really much to say. We are currently consolidating still with a slight bleed potentially coming over the next day or so going into options expiration. It is possible, and I'll just say this now, it is possible that the run up to options expiration causes Bitcoin to bleed into this 26,000 level, scooping up all of this liquidity. We will know if this is the case because as price is coming down into this liquidity pool, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make this a key level now, and it's just changed everything. That's very odd. Well, actually, that's sell side. So, sorry guys, 1 second. That should be that one. Okay, and this one down here should be green. That was a bit odd. Anyway, so this is a key level down here now. And as price is bleeding down, we will know whether or not this is going to hold purely based on the way that price runs into it, hits it, whether there's any sensitivity there, whether we go through it easily and so on. And obviously we'll track that, on a lower time frame like the hourly, and we can kind of see how it moves around into this level. And we know within this liquidity pool, okay, that there are other areas within this liquidity pool that we can see whether price reacts and responds and so on. But there's no imbalance over here. This is very important. because there's no imbalance, it's much easier for price to run through these levels as opposed to rebalancing and stopping. Yeah, that's a key point to make. So again, we're going to wait for options expiration, 26,000 to 27,000. Very important level, key level. If we just go over to Binance now, Binance has obviously had a little bit of a move lower, but still holding pretty well. We did get that higher around about sort of 337, depending on what feed you're looking at. 337, 337.50, 337.27, whatever. There's quite a few feeds. The highest that I saw on one of the feeds was 337.90. So 10 cents off 338, which is pretty interesting. Again, in terms of overall 4-hour movement, you can see that we are still maintaining this upward momentum ever so slightly. We have started to stave off just a little bit, but we are currently within this liquidity pool, and we're also within a much larger liquidity pool. And this price point just here is still in charge of the entire move. So it is possible that if we start to reverse now and we get above, if we get above this level just here, now we're getting a little bit sort of refined, but if we get above this level just here, back above sort of 330, we are likely to hit 340 and potentially 350. And if it really starts to go all the way through, the liquidity pool at 360. All right. So that's Binance. Let's just jump over to Ethereum, which is taking a bit of a hit today. So you can see what makes it worse on Ethereum at the moment is that none of these lows have been traded to. So because none of these lows have been traded to, it's very likely at this point over the next couple of days running into Bitcoin options expiration that we move a little bit lower and start to challenge $1,700 and potentially a little bit lower. But again, what we want to be mindful of is this acceleration now. Okay, as horrible as this is going to sound in terms of trading and kind of sitting in Ethereum, if you're in Ethereum, it's actually better for price to accelerate very quickly into these lows, because you'll get that snapback quicker as liquidity dries up. That's what we really want to see. If it just slowly bleeds and doesn't really pay much attention to whatever's below these lows, we have a much more likely chance of going down to 1,400, which is pretty low on Ethereum, to be honest. So again, there's a lot going on over the next couple of days. We've got to be really, really careful, really mindful of what's going on in the marketplace. Keep your powder dry. That's not financial advice. That's just, a friend talking to you guys. I feel that you guys in the community, I take what I talk about very seriously, and obviously you guys know me in the Discord. I'm always trying to kind of keep people safe. And I genuinely believe that the next 2 to 3 days, potentially going into the weekend, could be pretty volatile. Okay, so just please be careful. Be mindful of what's going on. Keep your powder dry. And try to focus on, discipline and patience as opposed to trying to find an opportunity to get into something. Because once the market turns, you will know. Right now, there's nothing to engage in. If you engage at these levels or around these price points, regardless of whatever it is, in terms of assets that you're looking at, it is possible that you can end up getting burnt or potentially sitting in something where you're going to have to be waiting a long time, for that to turn and come good. All right. So just a little bit of a friendly warning. And with that said, I will catch up with you guys hopefully this afternoon in a live session. I'm going to say now, it is likely that could... I'm going to try my best to be around for around about 2:30 GMT time, and see how the market open, US equities affects, the cryptocurrency market. But don't hold me to that, because obviously I've got a lot of things that I've got going on at the moment, and I may not be able to jump on. But just bear that in mind. I'll throw a link out if I am going to go live around sort of 2:15, and then I'll go live at sort of 2:25, closer to that sort of 2:30 time point, and that's GMT time. All right. So with that said, guys, I hope everyone's having an absolutely fantastic day or evening wherever you are in the world, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next update. All the best. Take care and ciao.